Hey, what's going on, guys? Dr. Jason Torado here. Welcome back to What's Working Wednesday. And today we are talking about office hours. I speak to a lot of chiropractors, and their office hours are all over the place. Some people work Monday to Friday, some people work Tuesday to Saturday, some people work Wednesday to Sunday, some people work Monday to Sunday. Look, even God took a rest, right? You gotta take a rest. Take a Saturday off, take a Sunday off, but I mean, literally take off at least a day or two, during the week. What I recommend my clients to do, take 3 days off. Why not? You can work 4 days a week and still make a fortune, a small fortune inside your office, as long as your marketing is effective. I suggest most of my guys to take off a Friday. Now, I know that a lot of chiropractors, just as a general rule, take off Thursdays, but you know what? That was something that's kind of like an old uh, uh, method or an old procedure that was created many, many years ago, uh, because it was in the chiropractic profession, simply because it was really cheap for these chiropractic seminars to be able to rent out a hotel on a Thursday, because nobody ever rented out hotels on Thursdays. They rented out hotels on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So Thursday became the time. So they basically, these coaches and these consultants and these practice management companies told all their clients to take off Thursdays and come to the seminar on Thursday night. But the best day to take off really is a Friday, maybe even a Saturday. I definitely suggest to my clients, the guys that I coach, take off a Friday, take off a Saturday, take off a Sunday. But you know what? Um, a lot of chiropractors still they want to work on Fridays, they want to work on Saturdays. But again, I think you can really knock it out and still have a very, very successful practice working 4 days a week, because just for the simple fact that the internet has really made these 3 day, or these 3 day work weeks, even these 4 day work weeks possible, and they've made these 3 day weekends very, very possible. Especially if these chiropractors are are communicating regularly with their patients, as long as they've got all their systems in place, as long as they are internally marketing properly, as long as they are externally marketing properly, and their systems are all working, then you know what? It's easy to put together and run a 4 day work week. It's something that I would absolutely suggest. A lot of I think that there's got to be a good balance between work and pleasure and freedom. And I find that doctors that work too much, or think that they've got to be inside their office, they really don't have any freedom. They get burnt out. They don't take vacations. And so I think taking, having, and what happens is they feel like they have to take a vacation. When you're working a 4 day work week, and you're off, let's say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, let's say you decide to take Saturday, Sunday, and not work on Monday. But when you have a 3 day weekend where you don't work, and you only work a 4 day week, you don't feel as if you have to have a vacation. I mean, you can still take a vacation, but you don't really have to take a vacation, because you're working 4 days and you're taking off 3 days. And so that creates balance in your life. When there's balance in your life, right, you can do a lot of things. It's very, very simple. And so again, when you have that kind of balance, you don't always have to be thinking about your practice. Things become a very, very, very easy. You don't stress out about having to go to work on Monday morning, because you just had a 3 day weekend and you're kind of looking forward to go into your office, right? And so when you work too much and you get stressed out, like, your patients know it. They feel it on you, and that's a hard way to be able to attract patients. So consider doing a 4 day work week. It could be Monday to Thursday, taking off Friday. You can take off Mondays and do Monday to Saturday, right? But I think working a 4 day work week and a 3 day work week is going to be the best. And as far as hours are concerned, you know what? Don't break up your hours during the day. Keep your hours consistent. Your hours must be set up in a way where you can maximize the patients that you see. Usually choose hours that people are on the move. And then you also want to uh, choose hours where you don't really take a break. I know a lot of chiropractors do 10 to 1 and 3 to 7, and then they take off that lunch inside there. But you know what? That really throws people off because a lot of patients can't really remember your schedule. So having a schedule where you are working straight through and literally not taking a break, maybe a 10 to 5 or a 10 to 6 or possibly perhaps a 12 to 6 or a 12 to 7, like straight through, working straight through with some time in, you'll have time in between to grab a snack or something like that. But when you work straight through, let's say it's easy to tell a patient, I'm here from 12 to 6. Just, it's easy to come. And if you're a walk-in clinic, it's even easier. I'm here 12 to 6. You can just walk in. You don't even have to make an appointment, or you can make an appointment online if you choose to. It just makes things so much easier. When I first started practicing, and look, it took me a long time to actually understand that, right? That it was important for me to have balance in my business and in my regular life. And it wasn't like that in the very beginning. As I told a lot of you, I struggled my first 3 years in practice making a poverty level income, right? So if that's you, don't worry. Like you can break out of that, but you just have to understand. So I just remember when I used to schedule patients in my office when I first started off practice, here's what would happen. I mean, I'd be standing at the front desk. I'd be checking my patient out of the office after their chiropractic treatment, and I'd be trying to reschedule them. I didn't do any online scheduling. We didn't even have online scheduling. I had a book that you'd have to fill in information, and they'd ask me if I had any openings on Fridays, and I would look to Friday, and I'd see that Friday was entirely open because I didn't really have a lot of patients, and then I would have to, I'd look at them and I'd say, no, sorry, I don't have any availability. And so, because I knew that I wanted to schedule them earlier in the week and I wanted to possibly take a Friday off. And I got to tell you something, the guilt that would just kind of wash over me during those moments was insane. It really was. And I got to tell you something, it was really hard to set my office hours and just stick to them when someone would ask for a time that was outside of my normal office hours times. And so, and especially if most other appointments were already full, and let's say, and I couldn't find a spot for that patient inside my schedule, then they'd often go on, let's say, a waiting list, and they'd get that last minute spot when someone else was canceled. And I got to tell you something, it always worked out in the end. But it was really, really difficult for me to set my boundaries for my office hours in the days that I worked in the very, very beginning. And you know what? Maybe some of you are experiencing that. And if that's the case, then I'm telling you, you don't worry. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. Set your schedule and stick to your schedule. I'll tell you something. At first, I wouldn't keep some of my patients. I really would. And I wouldn't, I'm sorry, I wouldn't, in the very beginning, when I first opened my practice, I didn't really stick to office hours. I mean, I was coming in Monday all the way to Saturday. And I would come in pretty much whenever my patients wanted to come in. They were dictating my schedule. And I mean, I would literally come into my office on my off days for like 1 to 2 patients. It was absolutely insane. I would leave my family, leave my little kids at home, leave my wife to come in for maybe 1 to 2 patients to make, I don't know, $40, $50. It didn't make any sense. And I got to tell you something, often when I did that, and I did that often, it would leave me feeling very, very resentful to my family, to myself. And over time, I just got really burnt out and I didn't want to be there. I really didn't want to be there anymore. And because I felt that way, I really needed a vacation and I really needed some time off from my practice. And you know what? That's no way to practice. And I'm telling you this because I know that a lot of you guys and gals can actually relate to that because maybe some of you are doing stuff like that. And I got to tell you something. Don't. It's not worth it. You're going to get burnt out in the long run. And so sometimes, I know it's hard to say no to people, but sometimes you got to say no to people. Eventually what I did, thank God, I praise God and I thank God so much. Eventually, I started getting a little stricter with my times. I created systems. I created even scripts inside my office. Plus, and this is the most important thing, and I always tell you this, I developed a brand new mindset, just a brand new mindset where I took a little bit more value of myself and more value of my time